You ever face an impossible challenge? I've been sharpening shears for 30 years, and I think this is the worst I've seen. Yes, I've sharpened these double shears before, but look at these. They're bent. Can you see that? Look, they don't line up at the bumper. I don't know if I can fix these or not. But I'm going to add to it. She sent me a second pair. Look at here. Look at those, and those are completely broken. So let's talk about how these shears are used, how I might fix them, and what you should do. So I'm Bonnie Megowan. I've been sharpening shears, as I said, for half my life. Maybe over half my life. Before that, I was a school teacher. So I do like to teach. That's why I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to hopefully fix these shears, these scissors for this lady. This is the note she sent me. I always love it when they send me little love notes. So these are the ones she sent first. She said, I love my double shears. 50 years she's a cosmetologist. That's longer than I've been sharpening shears. Please try to straighten my handles. Accident, both handles are bent. And I think you can see that. So I called her on the phone. I said, I don't know if I can fix these, but I have some ideas, and let me work on it. Well, while I'm working on them, she breaks a second pair. And these are actually broken. And she said she rolled back on them in her wheelchair. So I'm thinking she's a cosmetologist that works sitting in a wheelchair. So, first of all, let's talk about these double shears because they're rare. And if you're a sharpener and you come across these, I have a trick to make them easy. You normally, well, I've never come across any with broken handles. And I think I've only seen them like maybe 3 or 4 times ever. These double shears, I do have some other videos on them. Because when I see rare things, I like to share them with you. But the way I suggest doing it, if you come across these and they're not bent, is this way. Let me show you. So I have a pair here for show and tell, because I teach classes here, and I like to have things to explain to you if you come in here for training. And once in a while, you will see a shear like this. And this one, interesting enough, if you see, it says Arius Eichert. Well, that was helpful to me because I've trained in the Arius Eichert factory. I actually was there and asked them how they sharpened them. And at their Sharpeners Jam that we had here last month, Ramon Eichert was here. He was part of the manufacturing family. So I asked Ramon, I said, okay. I showed him the shears. I said, so what's the correct way of doing this? And how do these little screws go in here? And he told me that once you take these little screws out, and can you see those in there? They're little tiny screws with a nut on them. They don't hold again when you put them back in. He said, you really need to replace them. And I'm like, okay, where do I get the replacement screws? He said, well, I have some, I think. I don't know where they are. I'm not sure where I got them. You'd have to know Ramon. You know, that's how he sounds. And then in between here, that is the tubing on fish tanks. So he told me I would have to take all the little screws out, sharpen the shears, and then have new screws to put back in here and cut these little pieces off a fish tank. Or maybe I can reuse them. I don't know. Is that how I normally would sharpen these? No. I'm going to show you how I sharpen them. First of all, if they give you like a triple shear. Oh, you asked why would anybody have this triple shear, or why would they have this thinner and a shear together? Well, obviously if you cut hair like this, only the top shear is going to cut the hair, and then these aren't going to do anything. But they use them for point cutting, and you can work faster. My hobby is painting, and I have like one of these little brushes for doing grasses. It's got like little pieces here that I can go in and do grasses. That's sort of like this. This one with the thinning shear and the shear together, you have to make sure you turn it the right way, and the thinning shear cuts first, and then that shear. A lot of barbers like it because it blends and it cuts in one step. So back to how I would do these. I have these DMT stones. We sell them, but you can find them. You want to get the really skinny ones. You see how skinny those are? Those are probably about, maybe about 3 millimeters. And then I don't take these apart. I go in, and you can color them in with a red marker if you want to. I'll go in and find that angle, work each individual blade, kind of feel if I can with my little pinky finger, if I've got a burr, and create a burr all the way down. Do the same thing on this side. Create a burr all the way down, cut them off on a paper towel, and I've had good luck with that. Because these are, all of them that are made like this, are non-honed. Now, non-honed means they don't have a ride line, or not much of a ride line. They're really not that much of a hollow. So you're not going to want to take them apart anyway and work the inside. And then these are just a beveled edge. They're not convex. There's other double shears that are honed and that are convex. I'll try to remember to put a link at the end of this or in the description on the videos I have where I've covered those. So my next step, I guess, is taking these apart. Now, when I talked to Ramon, he seemed to think I could easily, once I took these apart, bend the handles. So I'm going to use that and maybe just ignore this one and ask her if I can keep it for show and tell, or I don't know. Let's just get into it, and then I'll figure out what I'm going to do. It's crazy. And don't think you're going to run into this kind of stuff as a sharpener. If I was in a salon, somebody gave me this, I would just say, no. And even this lady, I tried to say no, and then she sent me the second pair. And I thought y'all would see me struggle with it. Yeah. And so let's struggle. If you like these kind of crazy videos, you think you want to see more of them, I would subscribe, put some likes in there or whatever that's helpful to me. But I shoot a lot of these videos. Most of them, actually a lot of them are this way, like crazy stuff I see that you're not going to likely come across, but you never know. I mean, it'd be real helpful to me if there was another video on YouTube that showed me how to fix these things, wouldn't it? So I've got to take these screws out. I'm going to try these needle nose pliers and see how hard that is to come out. Is it just turning the other side? Yeah, it's just turning the other side. All right. I want you to know, I may do this stuff, but I'm not mechanically inclined. I really am not. So things that might come easily to you that you'd look at and you're like, oh, this is how I would do it, don't come easy to me. But we all have our gifts, and I think my gift is trying to explain simply. No, that's not going to work. All right, I'm going to take these to Ace Hardware. They're across the street. So I'm on my way to Ace Hardware, which is right across the street. By the way, if anybody knows how to turn off that little beeper that says my pre-collision assist not available, how I get that fixed. We came back from a trip and hit one of those road gators, which is what we call tires that's torn up in the middle of the road. And it hit something and that thing went off, and they told me it was like $400 at the Ford place to fix it. So I'm really digressing here, but we're going to go across over to Ace. We just passed my office, which is in Loganville, Georgia, which is outside of Atlanta. If you're familiar with the Atlanta area, if you drew a line between Atlanta and Athens, we would be halfway on Highway 78, or off of Highway 78, which is there. See that pre-collision assist? That makes me crazy. So we're turning on Old Loganville, which is where our office is, onto 78, which is the road my dog Bo, when he comes, likes to get out in the middle of the road and dance up and down until the police have to come and stop traffic till we catch him. So they always know me at Ace because I'm always buying some little weird odds and end thing over there. This might be the strangest thing I've asked.
When did this, you said it's 40 years old.
Yeah, probably 30, 40 years old, I bet you.
Doubt it's measured.
I'd tell anybody that was working on these just to walk away from them, but it kind of got me intrigued and interested now.
That's bigger than M2.
M2.
Smaller than the 440. And you just need the screw.
Well, I'd need the nut, wouldn't I? Or not? I don't know. I've been doing this a while, and this is the first time I've run into this. As I said, I always sharpen them without taking them apart because it was just too much trouble. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking I'm probably going to need to replace the tubing in it. You see how that looks all mashed in? So I'm leaving Ace and I'm going to go to the pet store. So you're on this journey with me, and let's see what I can do. I got the tubing, got the 2 receipts. That's the broken scissors. These are the ones I'm going to concentrate on fixing. Don't think I'm going to need that. There's the tiny screwdriver, which Gene bought me one year for Christmas. There's the tiny screws that he said I was going to lose. So I've got it in my little magnetic thing, and I want to keep that. So it was the M2 nut and the M2 by 12. So I want to take all of these out, bend the handles, sharpen them, and then put them all back together. So I'm not going to need these right away. So let's put a lid on it so I don't lose them and move that. I give up on these screws. Let me just see if I can bend the handles without taking it apart. Okay, I've got this in here. I'll pull that with that hand. Oh, this might be working. I actually bent it too far. All right, so that's lined up, I think. I think that's lined up. We'll call that lined up. So now I'm going to go back to my original premise on how I told you I sharpen these, and I can color them in with the red marker to actually see what I'm doing. Now I wouldn't do anything to the teeth, which I normally wouldn't do anyway. And they look in pretty good shape. I think this is going to work. I should have just done this from the beginning rather than try to do it the right way. Well, I guess this is right if it works. So I'm coloring in the edge. That helps it to show up better. And I have these little diamond paddles. How'd I get green ones? Green is 9 micron. That's the finest one. The red paddle, and then there's blue. Blue is the coarsest, and then red's in between. We're going to start out with the coarsest, and then let's see where we're starting. Let's cut a paper towel. Well, they're not too bad to begin with. Okay, so maybe I'll just start with the blue since that's the medium. And I'm trying to follow that angle. You see how I'm holding them like this? Following that angle. And I'm not going to worry about what's inside the blade. No, it's not working. Let me do red. A little coarser. I'm trying to follow that bevel. Yeah, the red's doing a better job. Haven't got the tip. And then I'm going to go to the blue. I don't use these little diamond paddles very often, but when I need them, I'm glad I have them. Now, I should have a burr on the inside there. And I can kind of feel it with my finger. Okay, so blue first, and I'm doing the other side. Now this one, of course, for the thinning shear. Following that bevel. This is a good time to have glasses or extra magnification. Try to keep that same angle. You don't want to be moving up and down. You want to try to, whatever that angle is, try to keep that straight. And that should be the same angle as the bevel on those shears. And I'm not feeling a burr. I should be feeling the burr at this point. Back to the green. You can definitely feel the difference between the smoothness. No, I didn't do the red in between. Between the smoothness of the blue and the red and the green. Even if I didn't know what the colors represented, I would definitely know when I'm working it. Yes, there's a teeny tiny burr all the way down. Okay, let me get this one. And I'm trying to follow that bevel. A tip, once again, is always the hard part to get. Whether you're on the machine or you're doing it by hand. This is how I learned to sharpen, was by hand. So sometimes it's good to be able to go back to your roots. I think it's better to do it by hand than to do it by machine and do it not have the right equipment, because then you really take off a lot of metal and might not be able to fix it. That tip's iffy. So red is next. And I'll probably put these little diamond paddles down in the products below. So I've got a burr all the way around. I'm going to cut, and I'm actually cutting. I'm not testing. I'm cutting through. And now the green, which was the smoothest, gently, I'm just kind of gently, not overdoing the inside, just going inside, smoothing it a little bit. Then I've got to take all this red marker off. So, let's see how it cuts hair. So the object is to have the thinning shear cut first, and then this one cut afterwards. And so I should be able to lay this in here, and it'll thin the last 1/4 of an inch. It really pushes, doesn't it? Look how it pushes. Not too crazy about the way these things cut. Look how they're pushing. And then that flips up there. Let's go over the edge again. Did the right adjustment? I don't know. I'm going to just stick with the red. I'm going to go over it with a diamond. And I don't know if I'm going to go back over it with the green. Sometimes leaving it a little bit more aggressive will keep it from pushing. And I might gently go over the teeth. I'm not going to try to take those V's out, but sometimes there's a little burr in there. And going over them gently will fix it. Well, this has been a journey, hasn't it? So it looks like this is cutting pretty good. I don't know about that thinning shear. It's hard to isolate one from the other, isn't it? Let's see what it does on hair. I'm going to get some different hair. This is that little $1 pieces of hair we sell. And that other hair on that mannequin's not the best. That's why it's back here. I don't like it up there for customers, but let's see. So I want it to cut it's pushing. This blade is pushing. See that? I'm going to go with the blue, more aggressive. I'm actually feeling for a burr. Wonder if I could put little serrations on it. Not feeling a burr at the tip. Not at the tip yet. Feel a burr. Without the burr, nothing happens. So now I'm going to work on this blade. See if I can pull up a burr. A little harder to feel for that one. I have hopes of getting these fixed now. I'm a lot more optimistic. So this is cutting the burr off. And you see this one, that blade does cut all the way down. And the tip does come together. So there comes a point where you say, I've improved them 100%. They'll cut, but they won't cut perfect. I can't see putting more effort into it. I struggled, went to 2 stores, and I think they're good enough. I don't know how she uses them, I guess for barbering. Let me try them on a short-haired mannequin. So I think if I was you, poor little girl, she's got some alopecia problems. But I'm thinking, if I was cutting in here, see, I think that's going to work. I mean, if she's doing this kind of a snipping thing, and I don't know if they were ever really great, but you see how they kind of thin that last 1/4 of an inch and blend? So she's doing this kind of thing, going in, sort of cutting like that. I'm going to tell myself these are good enough. So the last thing I want to do is clean off the red, put them in a plastic thing, and send them back to her. And And I'll try to put some links to some of the videos on the convex edge ones that were double shears. And hopefully this next video over here will have information about other double shears. And there's a lot of stuff in the description about how to get to the website, because we have training, we have sharpening equipment. Of course, we sell shears. We're Bonika Shears. And there's going to be links in the description for our Facebook group, which is Sharpeners Jam Groups. And that's where we have a lot of questions. And you can put comments in here. I read all the comments and try to answer them. And if you have some suggestions on the better way I could have taken these apart, this is the place for sharing. Sippy, sippy.